Assalamu alaikum. Hope all of you are fine. This is our first lecture about the histology of the integumentary system, and we'll continue with our next lectures of the integumentary system. In this lecture, we'll discuss the functions of the skin, the various skin appendages, what are the layers of the epidermis, then the types of the skin, the histological features of each layer of the epidermis, the other cell types which are present in the epidermis, and then the histological features of the dermis. The skin or the cutaneous layer and its derivatives, they constitutes the integumentary system. The Latin word for the skin is the integument, which means the covering. The skin forms the external covering of the body and it is the largest organ. It constitutes 15 to 20% of the total body weight in adults, which accounts for the 15 to 2 meters square of the surface of the external environment. The skin performs the various functions. The basic function of the skin is the protection. It forms a physical barrier against the thermal and the mechanical stimulus, and such as the friction and against most of the potential pathogens and the other materials. The melanin pigments which are found in the skin, they provides the protection against the ultraviolet radiation, and also the microorganisms in the skin, they performs the several immunological functions and they protect the body from the microorganisms. The skin also provides the thermal regulation, that is, a constant body temperature is normally maintained due to the insulating components of the skin, which are the fatty layers called the hypodermis, and also the excessive loss of the heat through the sweat production through the microvasculature of the skin helps in the keeping the normal temperature of the body. The skin also conveys the various sensory information because of the various sensory receptors which are found in the skin, and they allow the skin to constantly monitor the environment, and various skin mechanoreceptors, they help to regulate the body's interaction with the physical objects. So through the sweat production, the waste materials and the excessive loss of the water and the other waste products, they are excreted out of the body. It also performs the metabolic functions. That is, the cells of the skin, they synthesize the vitamin D3, which is needed in the calcium metabolism and the proper bone formation through the local action of the ultraviolet light and on the vitamins precursor. Now this is the section of the skin showing you the epidermis layer. Below is the dermis layer, which is highly vascular, and the skin appendages, they are embedded in this dermis layer, like the hair follicle, the sweat glands, the sebaceous glands. And below is the hypodermis layer, which is the fatty, composed of the fatty tissue or the adipose tissue. So the hair and the hair follicles, the sweat glands, the sebaceous glands, and the nails, the mammary gland, they are all the appendages of the skin. Now the skin composed of the epidermis and the dermis. The epidermis layer is mainly the stratified squamous keratinized epithelium, and it is composed of various cells which are called the keratinocytes, and these keratinocytes, they are arranged in the different layers. From the basal surface to upwards, if we go, then there is the basal layer which is called the stratum basale. Then there is the thickest layer, which is called the stratum spinosum. And above the stratum spinosum is the stratum granulosum layer. Then is the stratum lucidum. And then the superficial most is the stratum corneum, which is the keratinized layer. So skin can be categorized as the thick or the thin skin depending upon the thickness of the epidermis layer. The palms and the soles of the feet, they have much thicker skin and they are hairless, which is referred as a thick skin. whereas elsewhere the epidermis is thin and contains the hair follicles which are called the thin skin. Thick and thin skin, they are misnomer and they are referred to the thickness of only the epidermis layer. So in the thick skin, there is an additional layer which is the stratum lucidum, whereas in the thin skin, the stratum lucidum is absent. The stratum basale consists of a single layer of the cuboidal to columnar cells which are resting on the basement membrane at the dermal epidermal junctions. The cells of the stratum basale, they are joined together by the desmosome junctions on their lateral surfaces and the apical surfaces, and by the hemidesmosomes junctions at the basal lamina, which connects it to the underlying connective tissue of the dermis. The characteristic feature of the stratum basale is the mitotic activity which is shown by these keratinocytes of the stratum basale, and this shows the proliferation of these stratum basale cells, and as they are the progenitor cells for the epidermal layers. Among these keratinocytes of the stratum basale, there are other cell types are also present, like these melanocytes, which are for the melanin producing cells, and the Merkel cells, which are the sensory receptors, which we'll discuss later on. Another feature of the stratum basale is the presence of the cytoskeletal elements, that is the keratohyalin keratin filaments and the intermediate filaments, and the amount of the keratin filaments increases as the cells differentiates and move upwards. The next layer is the stratum spinosum. The stratum spinosum is the thickest of all the layers. It consists of the polyhedral cells, and these polyhedral cells, they have a centrally placed nucleus and the nucleoli. These polyhedral cells, they show a thick cytoplasm, and this thick cytoplasm is capable of synthesizing the keratin filaments. Now these keratin filaments in this stratum spinosum, they are arranged in the form of the bundles which are called the tonofibrils. Now these tonofibrils, they are formed at the edges of these polyhedral cells at the desmosome junctions and helps to anchor the adjacent cells. Now, along with this the fibrils, the adjacent cytoplasm from each sides, they are also withdrawn by these tonofibrils on each side or extended from each side, which gives a spine-like or horny-like appearance of these polyhedral cells. Therefore, it is also called the spinous layer or the stratum spinosum. Among the stratum spinosal cells or the keratinocytes of the stratum spinosum, there are the special cells which are called the Langerhans cells, and these Langerhans cells, they play an important role in the antigen presenting they are the antigen presenting cells and helps to play an important role in the immune response. The next layer is the stratum granulosum. The stratum granulosum layer consists of 3 to 5 layers of the flattened cells, which are in the terminal stages of the keratinization. The keratinocytes of the stratum granulosum, they show the pigments, basophilic pigments, which are called the keratohyalin granules. And also there are the special Golgi derived lamellar granules, which are composed of the glycoproteins and the lipids. Later on, these lamellar granules, they show the exocytosis, and they form a lipid coating over the cells, which helps in the impermeability of the skin to the loss of the water, and also forms a protective layer of the skin. The next layer is the stratum lucidum. The stratum lucidum is found only in the thick skin, and it contains of a thin translucent layers of the flattened eosinophilic keratinocytes, and they are held together by the desmosomes. The nuclei and the organelle, they have been lost, and the cytoplasm consists almost exclusively of the packed keratin filaments embedded in an electron-dense matrix. Now you can see here the stratum lucidum layer, and this is the stratum lucidum layer, which is devoid of the nuclei, and it is also only composed of the keratin. The superficial most layer is the stratum corneum. The stratum corneum layer consists of the 15 to 20 layers of the cells, which are the squamous cells, and these cells, they are cornified, and they are actually the dead cells which are filled with the keratin only. And these the cells, they are shed off after 15 to 30 days in the epidermal region, depending upon the region and also the age of the person. And these cells, they are desquamated, and so lipid rich cells, they envelops the breakdown. Now, along with the other types of the cells, the keratinocytes, there are the special cells which are found in the epidermis. So in the basal layer or the stratum basale, there are the special cells, the melanocytes, and the Merkel cells, which are the sensory receptor cells. And in the stratum spinosum, we have the Langerhans cells, which can form the Langerhans giant cells, and they are the antigen presenting cells. So we'll discuss these cells one by one. Now, the melanocytes, they are found between the basal layers of the stratum basale, and they have the large cell body with a single nucleus, central nucleus, and lot of the mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, and well-developed endoplasmic reticulum. And it shows the numerous processes, and these numerous processes, they are projecting upwards and they are encircling the other keratinocytes. So these they are responsible for forming of the melanin pigments, and with the help of the amino acid tyrosine in the presence of the enzyme tyrosinase. So the tyrosinase enzyme, it converts the amino acid into the dioxyphenylalanine, and thus helps in the formation of the melanin pigment. Now in the this melanin pigment in the brown or the black pigment is called the eumelanin, and these pigments, they are produced by these cells, and then this pigment is carried by these processes to the upper layers of the epidermis. Now you can see here these the melanin pigments, they go to the ends of these processes, and they buds together buds from these processes, they show the budding, and these granules, then they are carried out to the keratinocytes, which acquire this melanin, and they go to the upper layers of the melanin. The similar pigment which is found in the red hair is called the pheomelanin. So they are responsible for production of the melanin pigments, and they are helpful in the entrapment of the protect the skin against the ultraviolet radiation also. The next is are the Langerhans cells. These Langerhans cells, they are found in the stratum spinosum. They have a central cell body, and they have the branched the processes, and it represents 2 to 8% of the epidermal cells. They are derived from the monocytes, and they show the certain granules which are called the Burback granules, and they can be stained with the silver stains. They show the phagocytic and antigen presenting cells. Now they presents the antigen to the T lymphocytes, and so they help in the immune response. So these dendritic processes of these Langerhans cells, they surrounds the other keratinocytes, and so they are in contact with the other keratinocytes. So and any antigen coming in contact with the skin cannot pass without triggering the antigen response to these Langerhans cells. So the skin is always in contact with the microorganisms, and they are responsible for presenting the antigens to the T lymphocytes. Sure. Next is the Merkel cells. These Merkel cells, they are the sensory mechanoreceptors which are found in the stratum basale, and they are responsible for the sensations of the fine touch, and they are abundantly found in the fingertips. So they are responsible for discriminating the shapes and the textures. They communicate with the free nerve endings and allow the sensations of the touch, so they are called the tactile receptors. Now below the epidermis layer, so we have discussed the all the layers of the epidermis. So below the epidermis there is the dermis layer. So this is showing you all of the dermis layer, and below is the dermis is the hypodermis. So this is all of the dermis. So this layer of the dermis is a connective tissue layer, and it supports the epidermis and binds it to the underlying subcutaneous tissue. The thickness of the dermis, it varies region to region, and it has a maximum thickness at the back. And its surface is very irregular, and it has many projections which are called the dermal papillae. So you can see here these are the epidermal papillae, and these are the dermal papillae. So there is a junction between the dermal and the epidermal papillae here. So the basal lamina is lamina reticularis, and the basement membrane is present, which is identified by the electron microscope only. Now the dermis shows the two distinct layers. The close to these epidermal dermal junctions, layer is called the papillary layer, and this papillary layer of the dermis, it is composed of the loose areolar connective tissue and all its components like the fibroblasts, the mast cells, the macrophages, and also there is the presence of the type 1 and 3 collagen fibers. So this is called as papillary layer because of its presence of the dermal papillae. The next layer below the papillary layer is the reticular layer of the dermis. Now this reticular layer of the dermis is composed of irregular dense connective tissue, and it also consists of the elastic fibers which are responsible for the elasticity of the skin. So dermis may also contain the hair follicles, the sweat and sebaceous glands, and it is rich in the blood supply and the nerve supply. So between these two layers, there are the subpapillary plexus of the microvasculature is present. So below the dermis layer, there is a adipose tissue or the subcutaneous tissue, which is called the hypodermis layer. And this hypodermis layer is also called the superficial fascia of the skin. So it is subcutaneous, the Latin word below the skin. So layer of consists of the loose connective tissue, and it binds the skin to the adjacent organs, and so it is also called the superficial fascia. The fascia means it's a Latin word, it means a band. So it's a band of the connective tissue. So it is abundant in the adipose tissue, and it also stores the lipids, fatty tissue. It is also called the fatty tissue or the adipose tissue, and it stores the fat and anchors the skin. So its pattern or the thickness of this hypodermis is different in the males and the females, and it also acts as an insulation of the heat of the insulation of the body and protects the loss of the heat. So this is the first lecture of the integumentary system, and we'll continue with the next lecture about the differences of the thick and the thin skin. Thank you.